So everybody, it's Smite here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Now, unfortunately, I can't set up my video the way I want to, unfortunately. So I'm just going to be here discussing the tier list here and there and probably put you guys on gang with an after set picture when I get a chance to go and show you guys the full role of the characters and why. I'm going to be explaining it, and hopefully this will help, because I tried originally doing this, getting a full case picture, everything, but I don't have enough space on my phone and I set up, and I don't have another format of a camera in this instance. So this is what you guys are going to have. I do have a layout to show y'all how it is. I just can't show it in this type of way. But besides that, what we're doing, as you see by the title, is WoW rank the gods, aka line up with Smite and other proxy different gods, all throughout mythology, folklore, religion, and legend put together here. It's not meant to fit anybody, but this is where I will mark these people in the full in the case of their power scene wise in comparison to each other. Hope you guys will enjoy. Love y'all. Let's go and get into it. Enough talk. Anyway, the rankings that we have is Dusted from Time, Dishonor to Religion, Mid G, aka Mid God, Calm God, Base, Multi-Case Gods, Boss Gods, Advanced Gods, Top G, and True God. All these different rankings, True God means the person that overrides everybody and would be placed as basically omnipotent. Top G is basically a person that is put over everybody because they override everybody. They entertain everybody in the same instance. Advanced G God, in this case, because technically you call it FG with G God, is characters that obviously oversec everybody because they're the most peak characters. Boss Gods override everybody because they're high end play evolving power. Then Calm, obviously, is the mid general state matter for gods, but they still hold a lot of different state matter of power. Then Mid G is just the medium reasonable case state matter for gods, kind of like street tier gods, you feel me? And then Dishonor to Religion, they hold no plate, they don't hold no point, they barely even hold coexistence, and the same matter for Dust from Time as characters that are hard to go on scale. So I'm going to go ahead and pop to the top instead, because originally I went to the bottom, and I want to go and mix it up. And it kind of might be better. Tell me what y'all think, because I haven't done this. I think this might be the first time probably, because I have 9 tier lists by the time I'm recording this. So there you go. And I got some spicy poppin' bangers to put out. Hope you guys will enjoy. I'm gonna get some water. Anyway, True God, I feel like oversexes everybody, is Cthulhu himself. He'll arouse everybody from all the same math for everybody. I heard evolving feats. Is more peak, dominates, slays, and has better same matter for scaling, and he's put a lot more than we have in Top G. But if you stack other gods in this, like God, Buddha, near Jesus, and Jesus would stack considerably, and then even Allah, even though you can't even perceive him, he is just everything. His perception is all eternal. I would maybe stack Buddha. This is not to take away anybody's religion, but like if you wanted to power scale them, because they technically count, even though I know a lot of people look up to these people and it's a matter of belief, which I probably do, love God, all great praise by him, hopefully, you feel me? I understand that, and it's also good for Hindu and even some of their same matter for gods. But I'm saying if you were pitching from a power scaling point, I think Buddha probably will win. And I don't really think it should matter which god wins or not, because some young niggas probably think these niggas fake anyway. So I don't really think that really matters. And even that doesn't even put down the fact that we're having a debate if they would. So I'm going to put Buddha, keep it a buck. But if not, and we go by Smite, which is the general predictable of gods, then Cthulhu is here, because Cthulhu overrides everybody because of all his rack of trades and capabilities and hacks. So there you go. Top G, Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong is very diverse god, very inanimate, but I don't think he pitched that much over, but he solos 99% of everybody else. He does his way more better feats, way more better capabilities, and if this was a free-for-all, he would make a whole army that could decimate everybody. He has immeasurable speed and low to high out reversal, and same thing with Cthulhu. I feel like he maybe can have a chance against Cthulhu, but I feel like Cthulhu has a lot of hacks, not the same matter for insanity, that could bench him, no cap. So that's just why. Anyway, Advanced God, Nuwa, the mother to Sun Wukong, technically, by her deconstruction, being a representation of a half-bowl of his power. So by scaling to him, she kind of has some higher play evolving power. She's the Queen of Heaven, pretty self-explanatory. Next we have All-Run, pretty much Jesus the half in African mythology. All-Run transcends heaven itself, so that highballs other same matter for people. and he's beyond technically the prevalent form in his fiction, and has a lot of capabilities and healings and hacks. So I would strike him at that high ball. Then you have Zeus. Zeus overrides everybody. Infinite speed, high capabilities, compounding everything that he has. He's a great peak same matter power, and Zeus has been top G of all of Olympus, and there's no characters that stack like at all. So that's his probable case of speed and power. So there you go. The next we have Prime Atlas. Atlas has been considered in different accounts to be stronger than Kronos physically as one of the most powerful titans, especially as he hold up the universe. At different accounts, the full weight of Earth like a rock. So with that being said, his spike of power would be there, okay? But if it's not, and it's just him holding the Earth to transcend universe, if you want, then his state of power would be lower than Hercules or Contingency, because I mean they both hold it up, which doesn't complicate the power the same matter for their strength, but they probably would have a very considerable competitive match against each other in the same instance. You know what I'm saying? That's even a word. Then you have Kronos, the father of Zeus and the wielder of time and space. His infinite speed, it could transcend different people and disarray people's times to get around him and couldn't be perceived. And since he's a Titan, he has a lot more better place and matter of power, considerably. So we're going to go and put him there. But then we have the Jade Emperor, peak celestial god, king, and overarching ruler of heaven. His set of power is high in the proxy, and at least his stature was near considerable to Nuwa, but Nuwa accompanied all prime forms of different worldly things in Chinese mythology, and she held a great rise in the making of some Wukong. So again, her form of power would be near that state instance. So I will kind of put Jade Emperor at a great M at that case of matter of power in the same instance. So it really depends, but that's how I probably would scale. Because again, she's supreme. She had a lot of the preem points of owning people, which means like premium or the state of matter for the great cutter things that she create a lot of life. She transcends. She holds a lot of different things by her capabilities of hacks, paramount feats, and multiple things that make her an overlayer during the same matter of people, because Nuwa holds a lot of transcendence case stuff, and since she created a lot of things, this is the cream of the crop of Chinese mythology to a lot of different high peaks. Her probable same matter for scaling would overlay a lot of different people. The Jade Emperor holds a lot of same matter power at different precautions, but his power doesn't override some of the other stack of the boat same matter characters. You feel me? So that's really where I would probably have the case of matter for his power. And if you hear noise in the background, my mom's talking to somebody, fix something. So that's the place of his power for me personally. Anyway, then you have Ra. Ra is a grade A god, the supreme sun god of Egyptian mythology. Big nigga G, you know what I'm saying? So the precaution of his power would hold a lot of same matter for weight in comparison to other people to a high end, because the same matter of obviously scaling hyper universal plus are different cases. But he's very contingent with Shiva. I had my discussion with my boy Karuk, shout out to him. Karuk told about Shiva. I have a good knowledge about Shiva to a mid extent, because there's a lot of knowledge I want to get about shit, because there's a lot of shit I did not know. Shiva is crazy. So depending on where you perceive him, he overplays a lot of people because he's concepted as everything. He overlays everybody because his hands, entire figment of his body strikes in all corners of reality, dimensions, and parallels of different places. He holds all. Shiva is a supreme to high insurmountable god in comparison to everybody else. So depending on that, you could put him there. You could even put him in advanced god. I just think consistent, then there you go. Because this is saying that he's external, but Ra has been said the same thing. And to some highball, the plate of where you could put these people, because of the probability of their extensive, is universal. I would say if you give them the same argument, they both damn near are low multiversal, a multi-universal even. It really depends on where you want to put it. I think they're contentious. You can make an argument for both. I personally think Raw, because I feel like Raw has more hacks, and I'm not trying to be biased, because I really do love Raw as a habit magician myself, but I strongly think that it's a very 50-50 match. I don't care where you place them. That's just where I place them. I place Raw a little bit more in Boss God to the high proxies. Like I say, man, for some will call being a little bit lower, but you can maybe plateau an argument and account for his capabilities. That's why. Anyway, Chernobong, a lot of dark magic, a lot of high K abilities. He overlays everything with a reconnaissance of darkness. So every person that technically has a dark matter in them, like on some dark con, I know this is weird to kind of have him be in my example, but with his character, you could technically place him in the same boat as he can control any fragment of someone's rage. He can control any role of power that you have to an extent, slash deconstruct it, slash absorb it, slash be super more powerful because you're giving them all the splurge of darkness. So this isn't just evil, but any sense of darkness, any urge, any correlation of rage, anything like that, he has the capability to grow instrumentively with that, and there's an infinite potential for him to be super powerful. It's when it passes over people, because it's also good to say my for scaling, not just his hacks as well, but it kind of his scaling as he's able to transverse a multiple different same matter for dimensions and higher range. So considerably, multifaceted and light near Cupercalia of high ball putting at infinite, depending on the same matter for your statements. But that's where I would put him again. To go back to my example, because this isn't the pronunciation of what I would put this character without some of the same matter for things. But at the same time, it really depends, because not by tier, but by the involvement. Yeah, it kind of sounds like something involvement. So like I said, F would have cut me from wrong. I have a fucking tongue struck out this month, but I'd be like Mike Tyson. It's just simply how you would pitch the character involving that dark matter case. I wouldn't pronounce him as deconstructing and deraveling everybody because they have those elements of darkness. It's just his dark matter power holds a lot of high weight to absorb, recuperate more strength, stream more hacks, and have better capabilities. And his flight, all his different stack of different things that he can do, would definitely decimate a higher staircase matter of people, because it just he has better play, evolving play of power in comparison. You feel me? Then Baron Semity has a lot of different crafty capabilities, a lot of banger boos of magic. You know what I'm saying? My man has a lot of capabilities. He's a voodoo god. He's very shiny when it comes down to his capabilities of one, drip. My man had a lot of sign of drip, you know what I'm saying? He got a lot of different banger things about him. Crafty, make illusions, make you feel delusional, drift you away, dark magic, all this different half-off stuff. And I considerably could see him maybe stacking up by a consistent level and being contentious with Chernobong. Chernobong just got better weights and better capabilities. As Baron Semity is very hacksy, mystical case of a character that could really divert a lot of different rack of different powers that the characters have in this. You feel me? And his powers overall just stack a lot more higher than a lot of different other cases of people because of that. Again, he has a bunch of banger boos when it comes down to the Pac-Man of magic that he can bring out, because again, he can splooge you out with different things, cause fear, a lot of different drifty hacks that go into the fragment of being a voodoo god of near death. And so a lot of stacks of power that he has could oversee you. He also could drift away people's souls, and considerably because of the stack of power that he has over people, he can very dislay people's capabilities because of the same matter for how strong of a potion he has within the case of taking people's souls. Because again, it's not overriding by strength. Like considerably say Hades from God of War 3. We're not using the Hades in this. Obviously, Hades in this tier list, no shit. But the place of his way to take away people's souls in his hack is wrecking your entire strength urge to have your soul. It's a spiritual tug of war match. He could appearlate that to some characters, but it wouldn't work on someone like, let's say, Hercules. Hercules has way more stronger strength feats, but he can imperialize a lot of the other capabilities that he wants onto them because he has multi-hacks, a lot of different case stuff in the can, and he just has way more better probability to pitch these capabilities to a higher place margin because of how they all rock together. You know what I'm saying? Mostly because, again, he's a sorcerer of voodoo, and voodoo is very mixy, and there's a lot more better gauge to say man for his power in comparison. I just feel like it's a lot more better thing. It really depends on how you gauge it, how you presume that his powers will work depending on the case, depending on the character. But he just has a lot of stuff that could reemerge the better capabilities to get around these people. His stuff wouldn't be too problematic for the other people because, again, better say matter, gauge, durability, other case stuff, and it would get dispersed. But I feel like he has a way better rack of trades in the counter case of matter for say power. You feel me? Anyway, besides that big ass rank, because there's a lot of things that come into play at proposition of his power, is Fenrir. Fenrir is top because of the fact that he ate Odin, gobbled him up, and then got his whole neck / case of his jaw crunched because of the fact of Thor's little brother. I'm pretty sure. Simon's name, I think his name is maybe Voldy. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there's a contingency thing that you could stack together with these characters. So Odin is top dog. He is the most powerful Asgardian to Aesir god, beside him Thor, because Thor is the most physical. He's the most powerful because his overall of hacks, same average wisdom. It's pretty obvious. I mean, he's just a very high tier case character, and you compare him to Thor. Maybe it's some state instance of skill, but I feel like he has a way better state matter power and group up with the characters that he has had arguable talk to. He's a very wise and versatile man, and since a lot of his peer with knowledge and wisdom, he could probably have the better guess up on different capability of people, and I feel like he just weighs a whole better gauge. You feel me? Then Jormungandr is a very contentious thing because he scales with Thor. You could argue Jormungandr is a lot more powerful because of the bites, the damage he did, and the capability of his poison. Because he inflicted on him, but Thor busted his head open and said, "For Odin, for Asgard," and rock, clocked him around the head, Detroit smash, you feel me? My man bursted his head open, and then from there, walked 9 steps and died because of the poisonous bleed. With that as well, his power does a lot of different case things, and so when he does this, it does a lot of different things than others. So a lot of the times, when different interpretations put to scale, Thor in comparison to Jormungandr make them relative because they're both gonna kill each other. It just depends on the state of matter for how which person does it. Because he could die after, but if he wrecks him, then I feel like that would stack him over. But considerably, without the comprise of fate, considerably, he would have a better pitch, maybe, with power. But again, you could argue that. There's also the argument of who's stronger, Jormungandr or Fenrir. If you think Jormungandr is stronger than Fenrir, that's fine. There's a debate about that. But if you think that, then it would be Jormungandr, Fenrir, Odin, then Thor. I feel like there's a lot of arguments to say Fenrir is better because they matter from stacking over Odin. Odin's a lot more stronger than Thor. He has a better place matter of power, and I feel like he could dominate him overall in the same matter of power. Jormungandr is a lot more bigger, could build a bunch of different other cases, but I feel like Fenrir and his size, his rack of different power, and most important, bloodlusted, would be a lot more better probability to say that he would dominate. But you can contend them. They could be an equal state of matter for footing, as they both have a lot of great capabilities and powers, and they're both sons of Loki, will bring the chaos, no matter the case, in the fight, and spark chaos, because one breaks up the chains in Asgard and bites Supreme God of the entire verse, and then another person sparks so much devilish chaos that he's able to almost eat this man Thor. So there's a lot of state of arguments that you could put in play. I just feel like it's a lot more consistent and reasonable to stack the same amount of power between these 4 characters as former Odin, Jormungandr, Thor. That's a better case of matter for power gauge between all of them. Because again, you got somebody that awakes a whole platoon of poison on the earth, and then another person that breaks his chains, becomes big body Brock, pulls some Twilight Wolf shit, and then gobbles up another person in this case. So, there you go. Next, we have this arc survival, like, demon bird that hails from Lancelot's verse, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would perceive this beast from different accounts that I've heard as being the high margin riding the rock Jormungandr. in comparison. So I would say he would kind of stack to a great extent, and Thor would demolish it. But it's just say that power overall is too much greater, and no magical spells, especially in the place of magic, pushed it back from different accounts. So I would say Ganesha would not work on him. Ganesha overlays a lot of people because of his mind hacks. A lot of delusional stuff can happen because he's a very freaky same matter of a god, and Hummin and his peaceful bravado and different intrigation of techniques that can wrap around a case matter for his four arms could very much bomb these other people away and dissect them one by one of their mindset and place of being and put them down, because a lot of these people fight with heavy strife need to do something depending on the case. So one Ganesha's different things that he can perceive a person's struggles or ring of things in his mind, because he can channel all the thoughts that translate through their soul into his mind. So technically, for instance, if Poseidon was about to go ahead and brush a wave on this man, he could pursue multiple things to divert the wave back, like a whole nother wave, and they collide, and he keep coming back until you get somewhere where you can tackle Poseidon's mind and put him down. And none of these characters, from what I've seen, have any counters to mind hacks like that. And the only reason it doesn't work on these motherfuckers is because they're way more stronger and they're way more faster. Ganesha transcends beyond the mind, body, and space. So again, if you want, they don't hold that scale. But Thor, by heavy lightning and compared with these other people, I feel like I have a better say matter gauge and speed. So that's why he wins. Okay, let's make that clear. Hold up, let me go and put my view a little bit over here. No, I cannot. Okay. Put this there. Okay, Thanatos. A lot of misconceptions about Thanatos. Let me put you guys on game with this character. Now to go on a full more rant in the case of what I'm doing right now. I'm going to plug some water in my mouth. Pause. Partially this pain that I gave for no reason. Anyway, to go back on to Thanatos, a lot of people kind of make this man seem like a slouch and not do that much, depending on the same matter. But don't downgrade my man. Don't resist the darkness. You will indulge in it because it's coming for you. Because this man, Thanatos, is the god of death. He passes the souls along. He brings them to someone like Hades, who is the god of them in the world. He looks over them. He looks at the passage of them. And so Thanatos perceives death in different waking moments. He passes between different realms to go and heal people. Has a lot of keys of dark magic, a scythe, a scepter to go ahead and kill and desert any being that needs to be found within death's grasp to bring back. So he's kind of like Vengeance in the same manner for Nemesis, but a higher save margin because of the fact that he overpasses different means, different places, and has a lot of different spectral things from different accounts of Greek to even Roman mythology that would stack him over. So that's why. Then we have Hercules, the champion of Rome, the man that defied all 12 labors, and a nigga that was balling Kratos for a minute. Now, again, this isn't considering an account of obviously Roman and Greek mythology, technically in the same place of being, because it really is no different. It's just a different case of interpretation and a different point of view by the Romans and Greeks in the case of now for the people and how they're like. Because, yeah, I get there's kind of some bigger play differences with the characters, but let's keep it a buck. Heracles and Hercules are arguably the same thing. Jupiter and Zeus, Mars and Ares, Mercury and Hermes. Like, I don't care what you say. There's nothing that will make these characters more rack of power than the other. They legit just diverse them because there's a better take of interpretations and sense of different scenery that could be placed out from different interpretations from the characters game-wise, and also just to intermingle them. Hercules has talks that are related to the Greek gods, but he should even know them. His dad ain't Zeus, it's Jupiter, but it's still the same person. Now, I'm not mad if anybody wants to take an interpretation like that, but don't paint a different picture just because they have different names and technical interpretation. They still have the same form of combat, same history, same arguable power scaling. There is no difference. It's different names and different contributions that they do because of the Romans' philosophy of them. It's nothing different. There should be no narrative dissonance because it's a matter of how the characters are rolled together, name or what they hold in the same state of weight. They're still going to be the same. Jupiter's still the supreme god. He controls all different places in matter for the characters. And that highball is comparable to being omnipotent, but that omnipotence depends on the state of matter for where you would easily consider the same amount of power of the characters. Okay. Now, Hercules, back to him, because I'm sorry for the round. I just want to make this very much clear because, again, it's a misconception. Hercules, going by consistency, is stronger than a lot of these other same matter characters. A lot of their magic would barely even do anything to him. They could not pierce his skin. They could not bring that much plateau of power. And overall, because they kind of skill in the Cerberus being a Goliath that can never be matched even by some gods in the underworld, depending on the same matter of quote, would override a lot of people. A lot of people could give him some mix-up, but I feel like he counteract their magic, counteract their different capabilities. He has a lot more better probability to do stuff, and could pinch a little bit more power than the power they could stack up from different ways because he's a very clever god. He's a beast, and a lot of the creatures and other people he considerably holds stacked to, he has done a lot more mix-up stuff than them, and his broad capability and strength I think will bolder them in general. And that's pun intended. That's literally one of his super moves. But there's also another thing. If you wank him by account, where he said his strength matches Zeus, which could overstack obviously Kronos, which he already technically has, because he holded up the universe with no problem. He would be over everybody else because of his power, and same time override the same amount of people, and could easily boulder someone like Ganesha at a high rise. But again, that's wank. So if you wank him, he's boss god under Baron Semity. But consistent, he's right here. So that's where you will lay him out. Now there's Hades. Interpretation of Hades and Smite, and different presumptions of him. He's a great dark sorcerer, the end of their devil, even though obviously Hades is not. I'm not going to give you another mixed section. I'm just going to pace with this power scaling right now. So, with that being said, he would just overlay a lot of people with the same amount of his magic, and he's been considered the top 3 to top 5 strongest Olympian. So, I feel like that's reasonable to put him there considerably. Now, with Cerberus again is the guardian of the underworld, overlays everybody. Generally, we could say a matter of his mountain peak power in comparison to other people. Not mountain level, but I'm saying in the same manner for him having that, and he wrestled with Hercules, and Hercules bopped this man with no weapons. He defeated all 3 heads wrapped around his full arm and struggled with him to the ground a little bit, but still cracked his face and to get him there. And so with that being said, he glopped this man Cerberus, and Cerberus has near state scale to him. Someone like Hades above could say matter of someone Cerberus being the hound of the underworld, being under him and holding down placement because of fact obviously Hades is the king of the underworld. He overlooks things to a higher plane, and obviously this man Cerberus is his dog, so he would just abundantly be higher in the pitch matter place scaling. So that's why. Now Merlin, the great sorcerer of Great Britain, has great A capabilities with magic, with B Baba Yaga involving the same amount of scale and power, and has magic that can easily be overlaid by some other characters, depending on the case, but he has great mix-ups, and he's a very Doctor Strange-like person, so his mystical arts can put a lot of characters out of commission and divert a lot of capabilities that they could bring. Now, Baba Yaga, self-explanatory, a very great mystical character, a lot of great capabilities, the same amount for her power and other stuff. So I feel like, yeah, again, you could pinch her a little bit, maybe contingent with him, but I feel like his mystical powers are a lot more better involving the capabilities that he's had. The fact that his magic stacks at the sun like King Arthur's blade, which is the only thing protecting him against Baba Yaga. She's over King Arthur, but he has a lot more high rolling power and better capabilities and quick speed with this, to the point where I feel like they're going to have a very Gwen Tennyson versus Charmcaster like case of a battle where it's going to be very mix-up-y, and they're going to have to divert each other and do different same matter of things. But at Highball, he can quench a lot of stuff that she's doing and reverse it to spout more power and pressure. And eventually, if he gets more deadly with his stuff, he could easily pierce her with like a pauldron and stab her, and she couldn't do anything about it, I feel like. Maybe. But it really depends. Because Baba Yaga, besides her big pot and her staff and some of her split a different person capabilities that she has, with what she can do with magic, by the way, not in the same matter of technical perception, because it's just like one gauge and the role of her power, she wouldn't be able to really have that much rack of trades in comparison. So, now with King Arthur, again, Excalibur is a great A weapon, because could defeat an entire nation by different accounts. With the same matter for Great Britain, it's the strongest weapon in this land. It's the most highball weapon. He can wreck a lot of different people with it, and he has a lot of different great sword skills and stay mad for what he could do in comparison to other Calmethrin people. Lancelot is considered with him with the same matter for his capabilities, his high knight role, and other cases things that he's done in comparison to the other characters in different cases, you know. So that's where I would put him. Xinjun, if I'm saying his name right, with the blue necklace dog, the character that was shapeshifting in battle with Sun Wukong, was stacked maybe contingent with the characters because his shapeshifting capabilities and different problematic skills that he could bring to the table. I say that I will consider him more against Freya as a higher case battle because Freya is a great sword wielder. She's the queen of the Valkyries. She's a very anonymous sword fighter, but she doesn't really hold the greatest place of power in comparison to the other characters to some great placement. Heimdall has capabilities to BFR almost everybody unless you have greater case matter of speed or hold a better stack of weight, evolving power. He also a great sword fighter, and there's an account that he holds some servitude of power in comparison to someone like Freya. If that's even the right wording, I'm pretty sure. Servitude? Servitude. Servitude. Because, like, servitude is being honored to somebody or being loyal, caring to an extent, I think, as well. But when I mean in this instance, he has a great servitude of power to maybe stack up to Freya and have some considerable things. And he ignites the battle with his horn and calls out for the wars of Valhalla because of the spread of chaos that goes on when Ragnarok sparks. So, I mean, technically. I feel like I'm misusing the word. I'm not trying to pop out words I don't know, so correct me on that. Probably back his saying. What I mean is just that he holds relevance in comparison to the character by some different gauges. I would put it a little bit over his better place of sword fighting and better capabilities that has been shown in the account of her having even state of power in comparison to someone like Odin by just general skill range will override a character like Oda in this case over because of the factor of his capabilities that he doesn't really have. Because Heimdall doesn't really hold that much because, again, my boy Heimdall doesn't stack that much weight involving swordplay, but his mystical Pac-Man holds a lot to be considered. You feel me? So there's that. Athena, considered Goya, a great... it's in my throat there. Hold on. Let me first. Cool. Anyway, back to the case what I was saying with Athena there. Got a weird mix into what I was saying. Strategic god, goddess of wisdom, goddess technical children say war, and a great fierce warrior goddess that could get around a lot of different people. She's pretty self-explanatory. She's having a picture of nerd people, and unless she can keep having balance of defense and offense back to back consecutively, I feel like Heimdall can get around her. It's the same matter for him able to bloop her into a whole different dimension, and she can't get back. But I don't know. Susano, same thing, great splitting swordsman, has higher diving scale considerably than his little sister. Amaterasu by different accounts. Nike. Nike is a mixed one. She always amped Athena to be better involving the same matter for her power. She's a great goddess of victory, great strategic capabilities, and has hacks and fate that could technically overprize anybody involving the same matter for power to an extent. I say you could tend to near better than Amaterasu. And same time, you could argue she could be same scale of Athena, but Athena has one of barricades feats because Nike's just a great token goddess-sized being that holds a better place of power than some others because she comprised of so many amps and means to do victory that she has all the case of confidence, power, will, and presence of fighting skill that would divert a lot of same hour people's capabilities because she gonna be springing about different and she can fly great HP because she's always glop to Athena every time a pave of war comes into play. Amaterasu, great light speed, great swordswoman. She's very enamored with her capabilities and can slice and dice other people in high gauges. So there you go. Ares, the god of war, self-explanatory, a beast, a bull, and is considerably lower to near stack of strength to someone like Athena. Oh wait, I forgot. I dismissed Poseidon. Poseidon's over Thanatos because waves and having power that is a near case scale to someone like Zeus. Not an account of actual strength with that, but he's been higher in different planes of topic than Hades, and is a higher place involving other capabilities and could override the people with his waves and other stuff, and considerably same for him being considered a giant and his possibilities. He could bathe you in water and Aquaman and your shit. He could also possibly rape you like he did Medusa. I'm playing. That's fucked up though, but like he could very do some distressful shit. You feel me? So that motherfucker is a menace when he gets on his brothel earthquake shit, because that could wreck your shit right then and there in this instance. But yeah, that's where I would put Poseidon. Again, I'm not just doing this on the same map for different case skills. I'm not trying to have something be said and not actually be precaution considerably of the character, but I'm saying his placement, being near plate and being one of the top five, because this is just in different accounts of him being the high place god evolving Olympus, the people that hold the biggest state and matter for evolving their power and stuff would be the people to be talked about evolving what they would high and grade scale to, evolving the capabilities of their characters in the overarching case power that they would hold, because one, Poseidon has a lot of great A power, very conflictive character because he will very much stack in a good battle with other people depending on the precaution what they do, but he would bomb wave a lot of them and override them, and his trident is very powerful as it pierces the ground and cause calamity in every case because of having that much storm of wave power, and he will legit dominate in a way like Aquaman would dominate, but in the times 50 range in the same instance. So that's just kind of why I will put him in that placement of scale, because of the high probability. Next, we have, I forgot his name, the lightning god of my mythology. The dude with the electric axe and a little shield, but he stacks in good ways to Ares because all the accounts that they have as he storms every battlefield, and is a by different accounts a pioneer fighter in different cases. I'm not trying to like yawn in different cases, but obviously I'm kind of tired of saying this, but I'm still polymer with the kids and things I've been trying to say. I'm just trying to make it very clear that his place of power will divert and dissert a lot of different people because of the fact that the feats that he has, like, cause thinking, there's a good layup, but like I forgot the exact names. I legit read something about this. Oh, okay. Different cases about feats of him being able to bomb different lands easily. His thunderclouds shriek gods near to death. Stormy rain could body heavens of different planes, and the same matter for his power is a great deal to the point where nobody can even hold a touch to the same matter for his power. And he's just big Brock. So again, he can best a lot of case matter people in different rack of trades. So is a living goddess of the sun. She personifies Starfire out the smug. Her power could go supernova, explode a lot of people, could blitz a lot of them people, is packing a lot of sun power to the point where it overrides people evolving power and get around them. The only same matter of people that should be killed by Susky, in your case Scotty, as Scotty would spear, I think, the sun out for Scotty to go and eat her. Or maybe Scotty did that, and then that would rise her for her to go ahead and eat the moon. But that's not the case of this the wolf, not the same matter for the actual goddess, because I'm pretty sure there's a mixed take on her names. But she holds so much flame power that she could bury people, charcoal them, go hyperview supernova, and has great 100 times place of faster than light pack scale. So I would probably put her to that set of margin involving power. Next, we have Nemesis, goddess of vengeance. She's a great swordswoman, has a lot of different means to kill on sight, so high probability when she's on her killer instinct stuff will be able to split across a lot of different people and moves in different mix-up state amount for power and speed. And her case ability of fighting skill with scale to Horus was one of the greatest combatants of Egyptian mythology. This will also stack near contingency with Set. I forgot his name of Paul. Forgot Polynesian. What do you got? Like this, I forgot the name of this guy, but I seen his face before, so it kind of stacked to him. The dude with the curved blade with purple and gold. I forgot his name. I think it's supposed to be because hosts take to African religion slash legend. If I'm wrong, sorry for the cabin. I was thinking, because I'm not trying to put together all this upset, because I've been near saying man for overthinking with this. And obviously, there's no script. I'm putting this together all by my own voice, so I'm sorry if it kind of seems off.